This is episode 013 with Dr. Karen Osburn. Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hand, and welcome to the Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we dive into what makes an awesome lifestyle. From relationships to money mindset, nutrition to fitness, emotional health to peak performance, we bring you on an amazing journey to unleashing your human potential. Today, we're grateful to have Dr. Karen Osburn join us on our mission to help our listeners create a lifestyle worth living. We know lifestyle consists of many things, and the knowledge that Dr. Karen will be dropping today will be helping shape the lives of millions of people around the world and giving you tools for you to have inside your locker. So here's a little bit about Dr. Karen. She's a retired chiropractor who walked away from a practice of 14 years and a networking marketing business of a year to go all in with her online message and movement with women wanting more. Her podcast, Women Wanting More, podcast launched in August 2015 and is currently at 860,000 downloads. I'm sure it's much more than that since I got this last week, and listened to in 174 countries from around the world. Karen's raw and real message teaches women how to have more in all areas of their life. She's a powerful mindset coach for women who feel lost or stuck and teaches practical steps on how to get clear on what they want and how to get it. Love it. She lives in Victoria, BC, which is beyond a beautiful place in Canada, with her super sexy and brilliant husband, Dr. Ed, who I love too. He's a great guy. They're two young crazy boys, Tyson and Kai. They're two dogs, Lola and Karma, and works very hard every day to make the world better by being fully who she is and leading women to do the same. So welcome, Dr. Karen. That was a mouthful.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So stoked to be here today.
Yeah. So I want to start because I want to introduce you to, we've only had 860,000 downloads. Hopefully I want this to make you at least hit over 1 million. So we get a few more people for you. So let's get your real story, your backstory, coming from, it says retired chiropractor and you're so young. So give me your story.
Thank you. So you know what? It really started all about 5 years ago, Josh, that I felt like I had this message inside of me and I didn't know what it was. And if I'm being really honest, like I can remember rumblings of it when I was back in chiropractic college, but I was like, no, it's chiropractic. Like that's the message. That's the medium. That's the vehicle. And then, so the rumbling thing, and I, again, just ignored it, squashed it, and just went, I don't know, let me just start writing. I thought, well, maybe I need to write something. So I started a blog. It was terrible. I then transferred it from the free blog site to our chiropractic office website. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to figure out what this is. And so I blogged about, of course, chiropractic and nutrition and movement and then purpose and mindset, parenting. And the ones I did about parenting, which got really honest, because at that time, let me see, our oldest boy was probably like about 1.5 years. And I was really confused with a lot of women that were coming to me and saying, man, this motherhood thing is like fucking hard. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But then yet there was a different perception on the outside. Like I didn't understand why nobody was talking about how it's hard. Cause like, it was hard, right? Sure, it kind of like, it threw me for becoming a mom for the first time at 41. I was like, and I feel pretty grounded at that age. I'm like, shit, like this is not what I expected. This is hard.
Yeah.
And so out of that, because a lot of the blogs that really hit were the ones about motherhood and just being really vulnerable and real and raw about it, I created my first podcast called Mom at 41. And so, which was when I became a mom for the first time at 41. And so I did solo episodes. I did guest episodes. Again, it was kind of like, this is the message. And then there was just, I got to like a place maybe 13 months in that I felt like it was done. Like I didn't feel I had anything. I still kind of kept going like a little bit longer. And then we got introduced to this crazy dude called Gary J. White from Wake Up Warrior. And I heard him on my husband's podcast like 2 years ago. And like since that time in our life, everything has changed. And so from having that first podcast, then being introduced to Garrett and his message with Warrior's Way, to Ed going through Warrior Week, coming back, living a lot of the things, I really kind of was at the end of my run with Mom at 41. It was like, like that favorite TV show that kind of like goes too long.
Yeah.
Like they should have like ended it at the last and they kept going. Like that's what it felt like. I was like, I really have nothing else to say. Mm-hmm. And now it sounds like I'm just complaining and like bitching and moaning, about being a mom. And so from Ed coming back from Warrior Week was literally that like writing down on a napkin at dinner on a date night of like, how I want my next podcast to be. Because I remember Ed saying to me, why don't you take this message? Because we're living this and it's totally changing our life of how we're doing like what Garrett calls his have it all lifestyle. And I was like, I feel like I have a different way to really communicate it. That's for women because Garrett's message is for men. There's still women like me listen to the podcast and, you know, completely connect with it, which clearly I did. But there was a different spin, right? We're different as men and women. And so from that date night to like, I'm going to do this, 2 weeks, launch the podcast, me talking into my phone, solo episodes where I share something that's happening in my life, kind of have a lesson to that, right? Intention and purpose, and give them an actionable tip at the end of that. And so, but still was the same thing. Josh was like, wow, like it really feels like it's more like it's me, like it's all of me. But I didn't really know where I was going with it, what I was doing. And so I had women start to say to me, like, do you coach? Do you coach? And I suddenly went like, yes, I do. And I launched my first webinar for coaching. It was all by application. I had 22 women apply and I accepted 6. And I started coaching for the first time. And so, you know, from there now, as far as the chiropractic piece of that as well, too, it was kind of feeling, again, like that favorite TV show. Yeah. You know, which was scary for me because like my chips were all in with chiropractic. This was not in the plan. You know, my husband also developing Crohn's disease and having to, you know, not be able to be in the practice. That was not in the plan, right? Us not having to like try to conceive for years and suddenly then through adoption, able to have children in our 40s, right? Through adoption with both of our boys, like that wasn't in the plan. Like all this stuff was not the way I thought life was going to be, but it was, and it is. And so from that, it was kind of this gradual phase of like, I think I'm like chiropractic. I love it. But I think there's another way that I can really help women. That's not just the laying of my hands on them. And so from there was coaching to group coaching to one-on-one to online programs to had a few live events. And then here we are. It's like 21 months, something like that since the podcast was launched. And it's like, it's 1,000% me, 1,000% me. And the practice, we closed our doors like less than a year ago, had a network marketing business. I thought it was like, this is it too. I can do the two together. And then again, it was just that thing. It's like, that's not it. It's coaching. And like, I love it. Love it. Loved chiropractic, still do. Which is the reason I was like Facebooking you saying, dude, I'm sorry, I'm like 10 minutes, come back from my chiropractic appointment, right? Perfect. It's going right back. I want to make sure I'm like on, right? To really serve and you know, to be here today. And, but it's like, this is the place I know that I'm designed to be. I was designed to do this.
This is cool. So you're finding your purpose is not, people may not think it's like, oh, I know I'm set out to do this. And you just gave that perfect example. These little phases that kept on happening in life, the things that were not so planned, has helped you and help, I would say create you, but helped you find you, right? Would that be fair?
I'd say pretty much. Yeah. And you know what? It's like, we could have a conversation in 2 years and it's different then, it's just, I'm very open to possibility of what's supposed to happen in life with still being clear on what I want.
Yes.
I just don't throw it out to the universe and vision board it and, hope it magically appears. But just, there's possibilities in life that we don't even know that are in front of us. And if we only see, so if I said, yeah, but I went to school, I used to be the one that I would see people leave chiropractic and be like, what an idiot. Like that much time, that much money. What did you think this was like dipping your toe in the water to see if it's like warm enough to go in? Like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? So here I am now on the other end of that. Yeah. If you would have said this to me 5 years ago, I'm like, no. I'll always, like, it's some way I will practice. I just don't know how it's going to always look. But, here I am. It's just possibility. Life is this incredible, without it sounding cheesy, like a palette for you to really create on. And it just comes down to getting clear on what is it that you truly want.
Yeah. So then now that you say that, what we truly want, I want to get into, I get your website up in front of me as well. And women wanting more. So dive into that a little bit because there are men and women that are going to be listening to this. But man, you're like a niche. You're like this very specialized person. I kind of will, in Lifestyle Locker, we look at the physical being, we look at the mental being, we look at the emotional, we look at relationships, we look at all of these different things. And I can kind of put you into a lot of different lockers, if you will. So dive into women wanting more and how that's evolved from its inception till now. But what are we going? If I'm a woman going into this and clicking on there, what am I getting? What am I finding out? How are we changing?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. It really, women want, like what I do with Women Wanting More, right? With the business, the brand, with the podcast, coaching, all of that is really help women find their power. And so how does that look? Well, that looks in women getting really, really clear on what they want in all these different areas of their life. See, this is funny mindset that people often come into, which I do, which is like, okay, well, I can be all in with the practice, but then, the marriage and the kids and the health stuff, like that's got to be on the back burner. Like I can't really focus there. Or I could be all in if I wanted to, be like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, but then I can't do the business stuff. Like for me, that never worked, Josh. Like I realized that and when we started to really live the lifestyle again, first introduced by Garrett, I was like, man, like this is possible to actually do this. It's being able to take women that do feel this calling inside of them. They don't, they're women that we're like a different breed of women, man. We don't follow status quo. We don't just, follow what we think how we're supposed to show up as wives and mothers and business women and women, and really have a different way of seeing the world and have this feeling to do more within life and want all those things. So we're clear on what they want, clear on why it matters, or working towards it, and are committed to doing whatever it takes, right? And really important also too, with the podcast, as I'm creating them programs where it's like women in groups, right? Of like how important it is to have the accountability and the association of other women like you. Because here's how most of the messages that I get from women who listen to podcasts. They go, wow, I found your podcast. I have no idea how I found it. Like something delivered it to me, whatever, magically, They found it for some reason, right? I feel like you're speaking directly to me. I feel like you're thinking what I'm thinking, and you just happen to be verbalizing it. And P.S. I really love that you swear. Like it's kind of this, and it's like it's a good example. And what I really teach is like when you really show up as who you are, people are gonna love you, people are gonna hate you, and there'll be some that are just like, meh, like they don't really care, they're indifferent, right? And it doesn't really matter. But when you speak, whatever that message is for you, and for you, this is, I truly teach the message to the women that have made a difference in my life, right? And I know that I'll tell you, this is the biggest rub with this. Two things. Number one, I know that so many women are suffocating. Like they're suffocating. They feel like they have to appear a certain way. They got to be like, the great wife, the perfect mom who's up baking cupcakes for the fucking kids. They gotta be killing it business and have this amazing body. And they feel like they can't do any of that. And they feel like failures. Like there's this comparison, there's cattiness. They feel like they're suffocating.
Yeah. And
to me, it's like, if I can reach these women to not only most important, the number one thing is they need to really change, right? To change the way that they see the world and to give them practical tools now to get what they want. But the bigger piece of this is I want to affect their children, which was a big piece of me in chiropractic. Was like, yeah. You don't have headaches more. You don't have back pain. Your life's better. You're getting that promotion. Everything's great. Awesome. But let me see your kids. Because I know that if I can see your children and start to grow up a generation of children that see health different, that will be the big paradigm shift. So for me, is being able to reach these women who will affect their husbands and their children, who will start to see the world different. Then that's the biggest piece for me. This is why I do. People go, why do you do this stuff? And I'll tell them, I go, I'm here for you, but I'm actually here for your kids.
So you're really in it for humanity, going at it this route. This is awesome. The ground up.
Yeah. Because it is, for me, that's, you have to really, so you have to have what I refer to as that deep why, right? And so, I'll give you an example. So I just got a message from someone who's on my coaching programs, kind of giving me advice and feedback. Okay. And I'm like, all right, didn't ask for that. Getting triggered right now. What am I supposed to see in this? Haven't responded back yet. And I know it was not with any ill intention whatsoever, but when there'll be things like this that come up, right? I get podcast reviews. Some of them are brutal, right? They're brutal. It's just that they're not my people, and they want to be the keyboard warrior and let them know that I'm awful and all this kind of stuff. So you can have all that stuff. And if you don't have that deep why, I mean, look, you're still a human being, right? I'm still going to get triggered by stuff like the message I got. I'm still going to read that thing and just be like, dude, why don't you go fuck off? Like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Like, if I don't like something, I just close the book. I don't listen to the podcast, or I turn off the TV show. What is this? I can go into that whole space and I could let it affect me. Or I could even go further deep in and say, maybe I should change my message and maybe I shouldn't do this. And I'm like, man, I played that game of numbing who I was for decades. That ain't happening anymore.
No way.
And when you have that deep why that really is just like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, then you'll keep getting up. You'll keep doing the work. You'll keep moving forward. You'll keep doing things no matter what. And knowing that every step of the way, there's resistance and there's shit that happens. And there's, again, different things that you don't expect. But when you're really clear on that and you've committed to doing whatever it takes to move there, then those things are just kind of like that little annoying fly, like, bzz, right? Like,
Yeah.
It needs to be that.
Yeah, it's so true. And I just want a little side note here because I love having you here. It's so neat. And I just want to share with our audience that, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I'm not even sure how long ago it was, I got to go to Victoria to hang out with you and your husband and a group of entrepreneurs. And, first impression, I've never met you before. I've Facebook stuff with you online, and you're an intense person, but you were so real that I was like, wow, I like this girl. She is so like, there's no blinders. There's no fake person. And I think that's why, the success you've had with your podcast alone, with chiropractic practice and these women that are attracted to you, like you said, some love you, some hate you. So what? Right. And, I'm honored to know you. I learn a lot just from listening.
Thank you, Josh.
To you. So
I appreciate that.
Well,
you know what? I appreciate that so much. Thank you. I really do. Yeah. And it comes down to this because I remember having an experience in chiropractic college, good friend of mine, still a good friend today. And I remember her coming to me and just being like, you know what, Karen, maybe you just want to just dial it down a little bit. It's a little intense for some people. And I remember because she's a good friend and I really respected her. Right. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took that to heart. And that was the beginning of me really squashing a lot of who I was. And it was like, again, hearing Garrett's message 2 years ago, I was just like, fuck that. No more. Mm-hmm. And the way that I explain it in my podcast and with my messages as well, too, it's it's this crazy thing that we think that, well, let me make somebody else happy by not being who I am. So I'll make someone else happy, but make myself miserable in the process. That is broken. You help people by showing up as who you are. Is it going to trigger some people? Yes. Are you going to repel and piss off some people? Yes. They might just go, I don't like that Josh because of his hat. There'll be something ridiculous or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't like the color green of the lockers. It could be something just absolutely ridiculous. But yet you are not serving the world by being anyone lesser of who you are designed to be and who you choose to be. I think that's even the bigger thing of who you choose to be.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah.
Well, very cool. I've learned just from that weekend with you guys. The action steps that you guys took and the evolution of you and Ed has been like an inspiration to me. And it just, it made me say, screw it. I'm all in. I'm just going, whatever anybody else says. And I'm seeing it evolve in front of my face. A great chiropractor, a great friend once said, doing something is better than done. Don't wait don't have the perfect picture because it may change. Like you said, your life, right?
Totally.
It's changed along the route and seeing it, I've heard people say it and then actually seeing the result of what that looks like. It's wow, that's really freaking awesome.
You compress time in the world of expansion, right? When you just simply just do, you just take action, you ship, even you're I don't know what the hell, I'm okay. Right. So we kind of talked this before and you talked about your website. And I was like, man, I didn't even have a website for literally the first year.
Yeah.
I don't care, whatever. It's hosted on Libsyn. I've got a following social media. I will just build that. I'm just going to ship. There is no perfect time for anything. And when you can really kind of get over that and you just take that jump no matter what, and you take that step into the void, you're like, I don't know where I'm going. It's like, well, you'll find out. You'll find out fast by taking action, way more than pontificating and like, over journaling about it and asking all your Facebook friends and all this kind of stuff. When you take action, man, like, yeah, it happens. And like the worst thing that happens is like, well, that didn't work. Okay. So I figured out what didn't work. Let me try this instead.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It's just, you will. Things start to happen so quickly. So I almost kind of like smile inside when you're like, when was it ago? Like 3 or 4 weeks ago? Like this is how, and again, because it was the beginning of March. So it's like literally 4 weeks ago. Yeah. It almost seems to me like it was 4 months ago.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that starts to just develop in your life when you get this real clarity on what it is that you want, right? With you, you're like, hey man, like I have this message, like I'm going to get it out. Like just start doing it.
Yeah.
Where's it going? I don't know. How am I going to do this? I don't know. I'm just going to start doing one step at a time. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've had like 4 hours of sleep total since that weekend with you guys. But my world is going, my life is like, oh my God, I keep running. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
So because you've been starting to give little bits and pieces of action steps, I want to give our audience, because you're a powerful, very powerful woman with a lot of knowledge and a lot to give. So I would love if you could give me and give the audience, give us like 3 golden nuggets. And another person we interviewed, Dr. Jason Richardson, said, I don't give golden nuggets. I give gold bars. Right? So
I have to one up that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you better
gold bars.
Drop off.
Okay.
The vault has to be dropped off over
vaults,
here, right?
Yeah, totally.
Right. So give us a few things that you think you really want the audience to take home from you.
Totally. Love to. And like, I'm going to share 3 things right now, like three steps, nuggets, bars, whatever, the whole Brinks truck, right?
Yeah.
On what people can actually do. And this is, I'll kind of preface it first with this. There's nothing new. There's nothing new, there's principles on which you can actually build things like what we're talking about, right? And clarity and expansion, all the things you want in your life. But it doesn't really come down to like, there's a newfangled dangle way of doing something. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's funny. We look for like, well, it's got to be another way. It's like, no, dude, it's the same shit. Do the work. Mm-hmm. Really? But what if I do the work, right? But let me start with this. So number 1, and this is actually an exercise I did I have a group called the Sisterhood, which is a monthly program that women subscribe to. And I do a daily sisterhood tip. And I do a weekly video training. And so it's all these things, but getting more intense. And they got the power of the group as well, too. So I had them do this exercise, and it like literally blew women's minds to do this. And it's going to sound really simple, but it comes down to this. Every day for 7 days, open up a journal, whichever one has a journal somewhere, and write down what you want. And these, what I call the 4 more pillars. Okay. So a message I speak when I want to more is the more pillars, which is marriage, business, body, and family. Okay, so what you clearly want over 7 days. Now, a lot of women go into this and go, okay, like whatever, yeah. Okay, so like I want to be healthy. I want to feel more connected with my husband. I want to be more patient with my kids. And like I want to make more money. Boom, did it, done. It's like, that's all the surface stuff, right? That's all the surface. But when you truly just have a chance, and it's like 10 minutes a day max, right? An hour and change for you just to get clarity on what you want. We are so focused in our lives on what we don't want. I don't want that relationship. That sucks. I don't want, to be struggling in business. I don't want to have this extra weight. I don't want my kids not list. Like, we're so clear on that. We can make a laundry list of what we do want. When you ask people though, well, what do you want? They're often kind of stumped because they haven't given a lot of energy or time to that. So daily for 7 days to write down what you want and those 4 more pillars again. So that's business, marriage, body, and family.
Very good. I'm taking notes.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is you now take a look at that list. So this is like for week 2, right? Same process. Why does it matter for me to get these things that I want? And what is your deep why? So the deep why looks like this, Josh. And this might be actually relevant for you in practice. This was the same with me then too when I was in practice. when I would say to patients, what is it that, like, why do you want this? Right? They go, well, I just want to be healthy. And I'm like, cool. Like, what does that mean? Right. So almost these words that we almost get really loose with our words as to like, healthy seems like the good thing. I go, well, why does that matter? And they're like, well, because, I feel like shit. Like I don't have energy and I don't feel good. And I'm okay. So why does that matter? Well, because I'm not doing that or when I'm not feeling good, I'm actually like fighting with my wife all the time now. I'm really short with my kids. I have no energy to play with them. And so why does that matter? Because, I feel like I'm failing as a father and I don't have the energy to really produce in business. I don't, when you start getting to those, like the depth of things, that's what I call the deep why. And so you really want to go through and keep asking, well, why do I want this? And why is that? And why does that matter? Why is that significant? 5, 10, 15, whatever time that is. And you'll know when it lands. So when I said to you, like my deep why, like I'm here to like really shift the mindset of children. Yeah. So that we don't have to go back and just like in chiropractic, go back and fix shit. How about we just start from the beginning with our kids of how they see the world, and we start to see these kids grow up this way and like, oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing to see these kids growing up with a different way of seeing the world? Possibility again, right?
They don't have the same problems their parents had.
They don't have the same stuff. How about this in comparison and I'm not enough and I teach my kids something that I call power words, which is kind of like an affirmation, but to me, it's greater than that. It's like a code of conduct. And so my kids say these things every day. Like that's how you begin to shift things, right? Again, early. So you go through those 7 days. What is your deep why for wanting those things you want in those 4 more pillars?
Awesome.
And then the third step of that is just simply taking a look at, okay, I want these things, right? I know why I really want these, right? What that deep why is. And that deep why, by the way, has to like really emote you. Like it kind of like it gets you so excited. Like you're something like, oh my God, I've had like 4 hours sleep, right? Since I saw you guys in Victoria. Like maybe it scares you a little bit. You're like, oh shit, like how am I going to do this? But I gotta go. I gotta do this thing. Or, you feel really emotional, like it makes you cry, like it really touches you, like something where it gives you goosebumps, right? Like there's that depth to the reason why you're doing what you're doing, why you're getting what you want. And then the third piece of that is just simply ask yourself, am I willing to commit? Am I willing to do the work required to get these things that I want based on why I want it? Am I willing to commit? Am I willing to do whatever it takes? Okay. And this is the caveat to this then too, Josh. Regardless of how I feel, what I'm thinking, what the weather is, what someone said to me, like regardless of anything else, are you willing to do the work required? So some people, they're really clear on what they want. They're really clear on their why, but they're kind of like, man, it just kind of depends. And, so this morning, I'm training to fight sometime this year. I box. And so, I get up this morning, third day in a row, which has usually been okay for me, but not getting a lot of sleep these days, doing lots of stuff, getting ready to go on a family vacation, all sorts of business stuff that's spinning. And so, I woke up this morning at 4:30 feeling like I'm not moving very fast. Yeah. Brain's foggy. Boxing, there's a lot of elements. It's not just physical. It's mindset. It's like mental, like it's remembering a lot of things. It's all of this. And we got on there training. It was just like, it just felt like crap. Right. And so it's those times. It's when are you willing to, I did a Facebook post on this day. Are you willing to eat shit? Right. Yeah. Are you really willing to grind when it's like, you don't feel like doing it? It could have been easy for me to go up. I don't know, Rob, I'm feeling kind of off. Can we just take it back a little bit, or maybe not even show up, just to text them, say, oh, kids are sick, make up some excuse and lie. But are you really willing to do what it takes no matter what to get what you want? And it's like most people won't, Josh, because it's hard. Yeah. Oh, it's too hard. And so I had a conversation about the same thing, kind of continued on with my chiropractor, who's also my really good friend, Craig Bentham here in Victoria. And he was like, yeah, he's like, what it is people have to be in love with the grind. And if they're not, it's not for them. It's not for them. Like if it kind of works like this too. It's like, if you want what most people don't have, you must be willing to do what most people will not.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? Which is to do stuff when you don't feel like it. Mm-hmm. Is to eat shit when you don't feel like it, which is to do whatever it takes no matter what. So that's true commitment.
Yeah. I think I shared something like this recently, and I think I've seen it on a t-shirt somewhere. It's train insane or remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in all areas of your life. I mean, that same idea. Are you willing to put in the work, and it's going to suck sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's this weird thing. And, we could say social media, everyone to be everything's so positive all the time, but and that's okay. And that's a good thing. Listen, don't be on rants every single day of the week, right? Life is good. Again, possibility, you're here, you're a human, that's cool. Right. Mm-hmm. But in the same respect, I think it's damaging to say that this stuff is easy. So for me, when I see someone and they go, yeah, never had any failures, and everything's good, and everything happens for a reason, I'm just you're either number one, a big liar, or number two, you're so numb, or you're a sociopath or something. You're about to crack and realize that your shit's broken. Yeah. And something's going to go down here. I don't know what, you're going to have a breakdown, something's just off. And I think it's okay for us to do that, and to let people know that it's going to suck some days.
Yeah.
Right? Like training, like physical training,
yeah.
I don't know, people have this weird thing, you wake up every day and you're yay, I get to push myself so hard that I almost puked today. Yay. And although some of us might kind of be oh, I love that, man. I want to push hard. It feels so good in my body, right? And I get so clear in my head and I feel awesome afterwards. But it's not every day that you're like that.
No, it's kind of a love-hate relationship at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I live that, I feel every day with life, period. It's fun. It's hard. But I want to really do my best and thank you so much, Dr. Karen, for being patient with me in technology. But more than that is thank you for giving your all. All of us here at Lifestyle Locker appreciate your message. You will make a difference in people's lives. You are already. We're going to hopefully add to that for you. And remember, until next time, it's your life. You now have the resources to unleash your human potential. Thank you again, Dr. Karen Osburn.
Thank you so much, Josh. It's an honor. Thank you.
Locker Nation, Dr. Karen Osburn. I'm going to applaud her, right? She was absolutely awesome, ultra authentic. For the women out there that want more, you got to connect with her. She is a fantastic person. I'm blessed to know her in person, right? She's this badass chick. She's so cool. For the men out there, her podcast might be for you too. You need to find out who you are, right? You need to become your true, authentic self. So go ahead, connect with Dr. Karen, connect with myself. Everything will be in the show notes. And us, Lifestyle Locker, you can connect with us at facebook.com/Lifestyle Locker, and me personally on Instagram at Dr. Josh Hand. And if you feel like it, give me a 5-star review. And thank Karen as well in that review, because she is one badass chick. Again, Locker Nation, we want you to unleash your human potential by becoming human-powered here on Lifestyle Locker Radio. Bye-bye.